Hey there folks, Scottsdale Travel Chick Sidekick, here to present our travel guide on the Getty Museums in LA. In this video, we'll focus less on the art itself and more on the details of how to get the most out of your visit to both the Getty sites, both the Getty Center and Getty Villa. Okay, let's go. First, just a little bit on J. Paul Getty the man and the history of the two museum sites in LA. John Paul Getty was born in 1892 and died in 1976 at the age of 83. During his time, he was quite famous, and throughout much of the 1950s and 1960s, John Paul Getty was known as the richest man in the world. He came from a family of wealth, but greatly expanded it through his shrewd business decisions in the oil industry, particularly with the initial development of oil fields in Saudi Arabia. In addition to being a very wealthy businessman, Getty was a notorious womanizer. He was married and divorced 5 times, and 4 of his 5 wives were either 21 or 17 when he married them. In addition to his wives, he had many mistresses, multiple of which lived with him at his Sutton Place British mansion, where he lived out the final years of his life. He started collecting art and antiquities in the 1930s and was a very active collector throughout the rest of his life. However, he was also known to negotiate very hard for everything and never paid full price, as he was quite frugal despite his vast wealth. At his death in 1976, he left $1.2 billion to the J. Paul Getty Trust, which was created to support his museum endeavors. That $1.2 billion in 1976 is equivalent to $6.3 billion in today's dollars. Today, the Getty Trust is the world's wealthiest art institution, and the Getty is one of the top attractions in LA and receives almost 2 million visitors per year. Now, let's get into the details of how to get the most out of your day trip visiting the Getty Museums. It's a sizable investment in time, particularly if you really expect to delve into the details of all the art. So our first tip is to get up early and get going, and plan to spend the entire full day between the two sites. Together, the two sites are officially called the J. Paul Getty Museum. One is the Getty Center, sometimes just called the Getty, and the other is the Getty Villa. The Getty Center is located on a secluded hill in the Brentwood section of LA and overlooks the LA Valley, while the Getty Villa is a much more intimate space located much closer to the coast in Pacific Palisades, overlooking the ocean. Both sites are free to visit, but you do need to reserve a visit time for each and pay for parking. You can do both on the Getty Museum website, www.getty.edu. In terms of scheduling out your day, we'd recommend planning to start with the Getty Center first as early as possible. Plan to spend 4 to 5 hours here, including lunch at the site. Then plan to move to the Getty Villa around 2 or 3 p.m. It closes around 5:30 p.m. The drive from the Getty Center to the Getty Villa is about 30 minutes in normal traffic. Timing is important, as you'll need to reserve 2 different time slots for the 2 different museums on their website. Again, this is free, but you do need to show the ticket receipts when you visit each site. Now, 2 pro tips for you before we get into each of the Getty locations. The cost of parking at each site is $20, but if you go to the information desk at the Getty Center, they will give you a coupon to get free parking at the Getty Villa later in the day, so you only have to pay once with our pro tip here. You can thank us later. The second pro tip is to download the Getty Guide from the Apple Store or Google Play. It's a suite of interactive multimedia tools that offers up information about Getty's current exhibitions, as well as cool commentary from curators and conservators on many of the works of art around the museum. Now, let's dig into the details of the two Getty sites. First up, the Getty Center. The Getty Center opened in 1997 at a cost of about $1.2 billion, and the architecture is a masterpiece in itself. The Getty Center is actually a campus containing 5 museum buildings, along with multiple water and sculpture gardens. In addition to the public museum, the site also contains operations for the Getty Research Institute, the Getty Conservation Institute, the Getty Foundation, and the J. Paul Getty Trust. None of these are accessible to normal visitors, however. Another key point about the Getty Center is that you can't actually drive there, but instead you park at a large 7-story underground parking garage at the base of the hill, and then take a free people mover called the Getty Center Tram to the top of the hill. This is a pretty cool experience in itself, with some great views out over the valley. When you arrive at the tram terminus, you'll see the main rotunda building up a set of stairs in front of you. The rotunda building houses the information desks, 2 orientation theaters, and a museum shop, while the exterior stairs to the right of the building lead down to the central garden, as well as a nice outdoor terrace restaurant. The public museum consists of 5 2-story buildings behind the rotunda building, and they're called the North, East, South, West, and Exhibition Pavilions. The Getty's permanent collection is displayed throughout the first 4 pavilions chronologically, with the North housing the oldest art and the West housing the newest. Then the Exhibition Pavilion acts as the temporary residence for traveling art collections and some further Getty artwork which the permanent pavilions have no room for. The second floors of all 5 buildings are connected by a series of glass-enclosed bridges, some of which offer unique views of the surrounding hillsides and the central plaza. There are also many sculptures on display at various sites around the buildings, including the terraces and balconies. Be sure to pick up this map at the information desk if you're interested in hitting all of them. Not all of them are placed conspicuously. The art at the Getty Center site focuses on pre-20th century European paintings, drawings, illuminated manuscripts, sculptures, and decorative arts. There are also photographs from the 1830s through present day, as well as the center's outdoor sculptures displayed across various terraces and gardens around the buildings. As I mentioned at the beginning, this video is not so much about the art, but 2 of the most famous here are The Royal N by Paul Gauguin, I think, and Irises by Vincent van Gogh. Fun fact, the museum purchased irises in 1990 when it was valued at around $70 million at the time. Some other fun but perhaps scandalous Getty history is that over the decades there have been multiple claims of Getty curators trafficking in stolen art and artifacts, as well as buying artifacts which were questionably fake. In fact, one curator resigned in 1986, and another was indicted by Italian officials in 2005. Getty Villa details are next, but just a quick break here to say if you're enjoying this video, please give us a thumbs up, forward it to a few of your friends, and please consider following our channel for more informative, fun videos just like this one. Okay, on to the Getty Villa now. The Getty Villa is a much smaller, intimate place than the Getty Center, and it was the site of the original Getty Museum, which J. Paul Getty designed and built in 1974. The design was intended to recreate an ancient Roman villa from the time of the Mount Vesuvius eruption. It's a beautiful, comfortable space with a much different feel than the Getty Center. You enter the site by driving up a short hill and into another underground parking garage. Then you begin your visit through an outdoor entry pavilion onto an outdoor Greek theater space where evening performances are often staged. Across the theater space is the entry to the Villa Museum itself. To your left is a 3-story building containing the museum store, a cafe, and an indoor auditorium. And finally, up behind the villa is Getty's original ranch house on the hill above. Fun fact, the ranch house is off limits to the public, but it's the place where Getty was buried after his death. Okay, we gotta go in the museum there, but this is like a amphitheater area, and then the villa is actually right here, and it goes out along this area here, which we're gonna go with a big fountain and pool in there. The Getty Villa focuses on ancient Greek, Roman, and Etruscan art and sculptures with a collection of over 44,000 antiquities dating between 6,500 BC and 400 AD. But only 1,400 of these are typically on view at any one time. The art is arranged chronologically by themes, such as gods and goddesses and stories of the Trojan War. As impressive as the main villa building and its contents are, the gardens are also a primary highlight. The main garden is a precise replica of a garden excavated at the Villa di Paperi near Pompeii, Italy. Even the shrubbery and plants are copies of the plants that would have been prevalent at the time. And another fun fact, the bronzes you see in the garden are also exact replicates of the ones that were excavated from the villa. Although the main garden and the courtyard within the villa are sights to be seen, be sure to also check out the small secluded East Garden. Its claim to fame is the fountain here, and it's an exact replica of a famous shell and mosaic fountain uncovered at another famous villa excavated in the Pompeii area. It's not a big place, but the Getty Villa is a great place to wander around and admire the grounds. We're sure you're going to enjoy it. Well, there you have it, our complete guide to visiting the Getty Museums. We hope you enjoyed. Please let us know what you think in the comments section below, and please consider following us for more fun, informative travel videos just like this one.
Until next time, see you later.